Hello Facebook, how are we doing this Tuesday morning, post-equinox? Dodgy little energies around. I know some of you have really been feeling them. You're wondering when that forward momentum is coming. It's on its way. Every time there's a dip, it's followed with momentous energy that supports it. Anyway, I've noticed lots of people don't do lives on here, so I thought, why not? Why not bring back the lives? And this morning I was channeling and I just got a whole load of downloads about money and your worth and value that is aligned to money and how it aligns to subconscious behaviors, particularly as Gen Xers. I know that we've reached a stage where we're probably taking care of aging parents, we've got our own kids, we're not the same as our parents that had the ability to save money. The way we make money is different now, and how do you charge your worth? So I thought I would jump on, say hi, and share my thoughts from channeling this morning. Oh, Facebook is doing its thing. It's telling people that I'm here. So, hey Una, hi John. I'm just going to wait just a moment, and I want to talk about how you align your value with the amount of money you want to attract or call in. There's a massive truck outside my house, so you're going to probably hear some knocking and banging, and that's it. So, hi guys, say hi. Let me know you can see me and you're engaging. It's a massive cup of tea, isn't it? All right, let me start, and hopefully if you're watching it live, you will engage, and if you're watching this on a replay, just hashtag replay it so I can see at which point it's reached you. Hello Anna from Melbourne. Ah, amazing. Do you know you're the third person in that part of the world I've spoken to this morning, or has engaged with me this morning? It's always been a place of attraction for me. So hello to sunny Melbourne. All right, so let me start. The channel was specifically talking about value, how you value yourself and money, because we are hearing the noises about a recession, cost of living crisis, and some people are genuinely feeling this. Like there's no two ways about it. However, I'm a firm believer that if you are optimistic and you change the mindset at whichever frequency you're aligned to, meaning you're not just thinking the thoughts, you're acting in it in alignment, you're broadcasting frequencies left, right and center to the universe, okay? And whatever frequency you are broadcasting to, that is what is coming into your life. Now, I come from a very wealthy background that lost their money, my parents, and they came over here to the UK with 25 quid in their pocket. They built everything themselves, and they did incredibly well. They're the baby boomer generation. And then I personally have gone through working a 9 to 5, working for myself, having a huge amount of money, having no money, being homeless. I've done the whole scale of things. My experience has gone everywhere. I know what it's like not to have money for groceries. I sold a load of belongings to get that, but that was the tangible stuff that I could do. When I started changing my mindset around money and then aligning the mindset to that action, I was broadcasting another frequency which changed my relationship with money completely. The reason I talk about generations and how they see money, baby boomers had a very logical way: earn money, bank it, buy property, buy your home, create a secure way of living. You know, you go to university, you get your qualifications, and that's how you're going to make money. The Gen X generation, who are the 1965 to 1980 generation, we've seen that, and we've seen the post-technology era where we can earn money a lot easier. But we're shifting that mindset of the traditional morals we've been in, that we must work to earn, we must charge our time for money, for instance. Go to a 9 to 5. Money can't come easy. We've got a whole load of money stories, and if you've got any, I'd love to hear them. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is evil. You know, you have to have lots of jobs to earn well, and that's how it traditionally was. So we've got the hangover of the old stories, but we're seeing how lucrative money can be, and our value system may not have shifted. There's a younger generation, the millennials, the Gen Zs, they're of this new technology, and they are seeing opportunities very much differently to us. Now, when it comes to Gen X, it's really interesting because the amount of content I've been following about Gen X, there's a real concern that we are going to keep on working well into past retirement age, and not because we want to, because there's an absolute need to, because we're taking care of aging parents, we might be parents also, we're taking care of children. We're stuck in the middle here. It's like, where was our time? And again, I'm a firm believer that your 40s is where you have revelations about purpose, about career, about life not fitting the constructs of what society says. And 40s is where you really make life-changing action, or you begin to open up the awareness for it. And 50s is when you're really landing in it. I see most of my clients are Gen X, so I've seen this again and again and again. I've seen the money stories, and I've seen the imposter syndrome, and I've seen the low self-esteem and low self-worth, where they're like, I can't have this because my mentality lives in the old stories of what my parents told me. Let me know if this resonates with you, because the amount of people I've worked with this story is incredible, and actually worked with over a long period of mine, because they're so firmly rooted in the stories of their the parents, what the parents told them. They cannot move forward. They believe it's a block, it's a limiting belief, it's whatever it is, and they think it's bigger than it actually is, and it isn't. Okay, I can tell you right now, to shift mindset, it's being open and having a level of preparedness to do it. Okay, that's all it takes. It's not, you know, all this kind of people that make it bigger than it is. It is not. I know this because I've done this for myself, and I've done it for thousands of people. I know what it takes to do it, right? So society, excuse me for looking down, but I wrote some notes because I wanted to make this concise. Society sees your value measured upon your status or money. That person does well because their status or their money. Something I learned from mixing with people with a lot of money, like I'm talking billions, they don't necessarily go around wearing the designer labels and, you know, driving the fancy cars. They've reached a level of contentness, and you will find them in basic clothing that they're comfortable in. I noticed this when I was mixing with Arabs, when that was my world as well. Arabs are very outlandish. They like all the flashy things, but there was a core type of person I met that had a lot of money, millions, you know, millions and millions, and they weren't driving the fancy cars, and they weren't wearing tons of gold, and they weren't outwardly showing it. It was like an inner value system that radiated contentment, and that's what I'm talking about. It's so interesting. Your value is really based on how deeply connected you are to yourself. Hi Jodie, thank you. How deeply you're connected to yourself, how much access you have to that, right? It doesn't live out there. It's not another strategy. It's not another skill you need to attain. It's not another course. It's how deeply connected you are to yourself and how you recognize yourself, okay? It's how much access you've got to that, meaning your inner guidance system, your intuition, your gut instinct, what you already know from your life experience, what you learn from that. Because what people are currently on, and this is a construct of society and the top-down narrative, I feel, is very much of experience, move on to the next, experience, move on to the next. And you're always on a hamster wheel chasing. I might stop for a moment. You've already got the stuff. Stop the hamster wheel. Just step out of it. And I said in a recent energy update on my subscription group, Soul School, I said there is an analogy. You can go, if you imagine being on a boat on a river, you can go with the flow and follow the narrative. You can fight against it, which takes a lot of energy to fight against it and be like, I'm not that person. No, I'm giving it all that, which I personally don't like doing. And there's a place for all of this, by the way. Personally, I step out of it and create my own reality. I'm like, I'm going to let you create all the noise. I'm just going to step out and do my own thing and work with what my inner value system is saying. The day I decide to do a live, it's super noisy outside, so forgive the noise. So it's not how much money you've got, it's the source of your value. Where does that source come from? Where is that source? Thank you for tagging people. I really appreciate that. In your source, your soul, the innermost aspects of yourself, what does that value say about you? Everything you do, consciously or subconsciously, is a frequency that's being broadcasted out in the universe. And like attracts like. They're just atoms, thoughts, they're vibrations going out, and boom, if you're getting more of the same, you need to look at the source of the value, okay? And that's you. That's your creative genius. That is your ability to tap into your inner world. That is all the wisdom you've got. That's your generational wisdom, which you're probably in denial of. I often look to my ancestors to see what they've got so I can tap into their wisdom and bring that in. That lives in your DNA, by the way. A DNA activation can sort that out. It's the source of inspiration and creativity, and that all lives here. It doesn't live out there. The reason you do purpose, thank you, Lynn, I really appreciate that. The reason you do the work that you do, the way that you live, that keeps you keeps the youthfulness there, the drive, is all linked to this inside, right? I said to someone the other day, so I'm going to just pick up on Lynn's point. I'm 52. I'm going to be 53 in 2-3 months, right? And I feel and look better than I did 10 years ago. Some of you might have seen on my profile, there's pictures of me 10 years ago. I look more stressed, older. You can see the suffering on my face. I have literally lost years in my physical appearance because I'm really grounded to the source of my value with whatever that comes to, okay? So how much value you feel in yourself. So if you've got low self-esteem, low worth, you've got money stories going on, that's the mismatch vibration. So in your head, you'll be like, I want the money. I know that's what I want to be doing. I want to be in my purpose. And the stories that are running in the background is, you know, you've got to work hard for money. We don't come from a rich background. We've lost money, parental stories. You know, my parents both came from wealthy backgrounds, and more than once they lost their wealth, and more than once they bought it back. And that has been my money story. It's been the inability to sustain wealth until recently, which has been like, I have stepped out of their story. I'm creating my own story, my own beliefs. I don't have to go into that. They're not blocks, they're not limitations. I can literally wave goodbye to them and say, from this day forward, I am going to create a belief system, a new practice, a new way of being that, there you go, only 55, there you go. So we're in the same boat here, Lynn, there we go. So, you know, look, we can create our own story, and people will be like, oh, it's all right for you, Yasmin, you know, it's easy, you're an energy worker, how do you do it? Listen, it was never easy. If you looked at me 12 years ago, I was committing suicide. I was trying to commit suicide. It was that bad, right? I'd lost all my money. I was losing my home. I was in a right mess. So if I can pull myself back from that and feel younger, look younger, sustain wealth, have a value system that comes from my inner source, continued inspiration and creativity, all of you can do that too. Yeah, the limiting beliefs are 100% voices in your head, and you can have a choice to listen to them or not. And some people are like, I'm running away from them. And one of the biggest tips I can give you is just acknowledge it and say, thank you. Thank you for that. I choose to release you. It's powerful. You will not believe how powerful that is. You only need to do that 4 or 5 times and that belief has changed. You don't need to go into inner deep subconscious behavior. You don't. You command your energy. You are source. That is the, you know, source energy. You are that. If you command it, you're commanding energy, it will come your way. I promise you, it's not that difficult. And Jodie, who's on here, she's in my soul school. She'll know, right? Anyone who's in soul school in my subscription group, you will all know how easy this is, because I've been telling you for years and you've done it all. You're all achieving greatness. So, and it's not difficult, okay? So you won't be able to maintain or sustain abundance or wealth, right? Unless your internal value is matched, okay? Think about that for a moment. You're manifesting a lifestyle, a purpose, a soulmate, or whatever it is you're manifesting, but yet your internal value system is shot. That doesn't work, right? You're actually reflecting what your internal value system says, and that's conscious and subconscious behaviors, okay? So how do you catch the subconscious behaviors? It's when you keep doing the same things and getting an outcome that is displeasing, that dissatisfies you, that does not fulfill you. Your job is to catch the sequence of events that leads to that thought, that action or behavior. All right, it's as easy as that. Let me just answer some of these. You 54, just added a year. Hopefully you don't look it either. Thank you, my love. I really appreciate that, Lynn. How do you match that? And I missed your soulmate call. No, you haven't. Soulmate call is tomorrow. So how do you match that? If you find yourself desiring a life or money that you currently are not achieving, you have to look within you as to what your current stories and value systems are. When somebody is saying to me, I want to manifest something, whether that's a soulmate or money or whatever, I'm like, you're going to manifest exactly how you treat yourself, right? If you're not giving yourself self-love, if you're beating yourself up with a shitty narrative, if you are telling yourself you're not worth it, if you're allowing anyone else around you to tell you that, and by the way, you have 100% power to walk away from that. I did more than once. If you're not holding yourself accountable for that aspect, these things don't just come by, right? And sometimes they will come by, and because you're still continuing that behavior, you'll lose it. Right? Because I did have a lot of money. I was driving a 120 grand car, 2 homes. I had a lot of money, right? And I did not feel worthy of it, and I lost it. Okay, which is fine. I don't have that much money now, but I am very well taken care of every single time. I do not struggle, right? And that is a reflection of how I tend to my own needs, okay? So does your external world that you want to manifest match your internal world? Are you vibrating on the same frequency? Because if you're not, you're going to find it really difficult to attract that thing, okay? And most of you will be, particularly your Gen Xers, right? Let me explain the whole Gen X thing and why I talk about this a lot. I said at the beginning, most of my clients are Gen X. If you're Gen X, put your hand up and let me know. Gen X is 1965 to 1980. And the reason I want to pick on you guys, I'm Gen X. We adulted far too quickly, right? Our parents were the first generation where both parents went out to work. So I know at the age of 7, I was in charge of the house, babysitting my brother and sister, feeding them, cleaning, and making sure by the age of 9 that I was preparing food for my parents. They taught me young, right? There was not a lot I couldn't do by the age I was 14 or 15, right? And I'm talking about like basic DIY. I'm talking about cooking, cleaning, sewing. You know, I was 14, I was sewing leather jackets for a living, right? That was my Saturday job. It's crazy. So we were the ones that were in that. And now when you adult too quickly, you forget a sense of self. You don't know what your own identity is. So you tend to distract. Right? So when you're working on your inner value system, stop scrolling on TikTok, watching cats falling off fridges and dogs learning to talk, and pull yourself back into meaningful action. I'm always saying, wherever your focused attention is, that's what you're calling in again and again and again. Yes, occasionally it's cool, but I bet there's a load of you that go into social media and you've lost an hour and you're like, oh my God, how did that go? Because you're not present, you're not conscious, you're not aware of your actions. And if you have to lock up your phone, which no one should have to, because you should have enough discipline to put it there and not look at it, right? You're not doing the right thing. Okay, you need to get connected with yourself, right? But that social media world is not that important. And the way I've channeled it is social media is going to collapse in the way that it is, right? You think you can always run your business on it and that it's always going to be there. You're very much mistaken. The landscape of social media is dramatically going to change. I've already channeled this for the people who work with me on a business level. So, and I'm already sending them into different directions, okay? So if you're waiting for external validation to confirm your value, you're in the wrong place. You decide where your value is. You confirm that value. You're the one that lives in that vibration and that frequency, okay? And you can only do that by changing your own behaviors and actions, okay? So everything aligns. You also need to be very boundaried. I have clients that who run businesses and they will not release their low value items, yet they want to create multiple thousands of pounds, 6 figures, whatever it might be, whatever their love is for what they want to do, okay? And they're not letting go of the low value stuff, but they're saying that they want to work less and they want to make more money. And I'm like, well, unless you let go of that which holds you in that vibration, you cannot quantum jump into something of a higher value. Your inner value story, your story that's saying, I'm not worthy of letting this go, or I'm too fearful, is the thing that keeps you attracting those things. And when you let go of that and jump into a higher frequency and you're like, do you know what? I can attract those. My inner value system, my container, my human self, this meat suit can handle that amount of money. And often I say to people, what amount of money makes you uncomfortable, right? What amount of money makes you uncomfortable? But before what makes you comfortable, there'll be a value that makes you laugh. Right? So how much do you think you could earn? And you could just laugh at it and go, yeah, right? When it makes you laugh and it continues to make you laugh, you're kind of there or thereabouts. And if you're not currently earning that, that's where you want to aim towards. And when you aim towards that, the level of money that makes you feel uncomfortable, that becomes more attainable. There is no amount of money that makes me feel uncomfortable. 10 million? Like, I feel my body, there's no discomfort. 10,000 a month does not give me discomfort. 1 billion? No discomfort. There's no discomfort felt in my body about any of those, that amount of money, because to me, all I see is opportunities. All I see is an opportunity to help people. And I feel that because my purpose is helping people. My job is to help people. My job is to help arm you with the tools so you can go off and do this for yourself, and you don't need to keep coming back to me. You're not tied into me to validate your worth or your value. And in my group Soul School, which I haven't tagged above, but I will tag, I'll put it in the comments. What's really interesting is when they're intuitively connecting, they'll check in with me and go, is that right? Am I seeing this right? And I'll always say, you don't need me. It's already right. Where did you feel it? And they'll say, I felt it here in my heart, or I felt it in my gut. And I'm like, it's right. Trust me. Just go with it. You don't need my validation. You know, you've got this. You 100% got this. Your body knows what feels right and what doesn't. Your body knows how, as a container, what it can hold and what it can't. And if you feel a dis-ease for the amount of abundance that you're actually entitled to, that is your birthright that you're not calling in, that directly correlates to the level of disconnection you're feeling to the source of creativity inside of you, right? Let me explain that again. I need you to understand this, okay? If you feel that you cannot have all of this abundance, that is 100% your birthright, okay? That directly correlates to the level in which you are connected to yourself, the level at which you tap into your creative source energy and your inspiration and all of that, right? How did I manifest my partner? I'll be sharing that on tomorrow's soulmate webinar, because he's going to be there to give you the other aspect. So I thought, actually, just for that, just sidetracking a little bit for Ali's comment, is rather than tell you just my story, I've got more than one person sharing their story, so you can see that when something is meant for you, one is undeniably unmistakable, it's 100% aligned, and the thing that you will find yourself doing is sabotaging it. Okay, I said this on my Instagram the other day. If you find you're trying to sabotage something, that's your purpose calling, that's your soulmate calling, that's the money calling, that's everything calling. You need to just get into alignment with it, okay? But if you find yourself chasing, and there's nothing coming out of it, It might not be for you right now, or it might not be for you at all. Okay, so maybe you need to reframe how you look at it. Maybe you need a different way of doing things. Maybe it is the right thing. However, you're not looking for it for what it actually is. We can get caught up in the story, the romanticism, the ideology of it, and we don't actually come from a lived, embodied experience. Okay. So boundaries about what you say yes to. Stop accepting low frequency things in your life when you're trying to manifest a life that is bigger than where you are currently at. The two do not match. Okay. So before you say yes to that thing, the opportunity, the date, the money, think about can my container, my energetic container, hold more than this money I'm currently receiving? And if it's a yes, walk away. Walk away. All right. I very rarely offer discounts, but I do occasionally. And I know some people book because that's the only way they can afford it in discounts. Fine, okay? But if somebody uses that link outside of the scope, I'll cancel them. If somebody tries to haggle me on price, I'm 100% no. I don't do it. They're not all my people. I'm not here to help everybody. I'm here to help a certain type of person. And my value system aligns to that type of person, okay? And every time I've up-leveled that person has come in, you know, and when you're in that frequency, by the way, I said to, I was just playing with manifestation. So this week, I do Monday manifestation. I've just started on Instagram. You can follow me at Miss Yasmin Ibrahim. And in my stories, I said, let's try and manifest something small. And I just threw it out there. I was like, I'd like another £1,000 this week, please. It came in today. That's it. When you're on that frequency, you ask and it's given without mistake. All right. So you need to let go of the low vibe in order to jump forward in the quantum field to access what you need. And just think about it this way. Okay. The money you want is on another frequency. All you need to do is attain that frequency. On that frequency, there's a deposit box. There's a bank account holding your money, right? It's there waiting for you. All you've got to do is shift into that frequency by tapping into the innate wisdom and creativity of yourself to get there, all right? It's not a difficult process. It really isn't. Watch your thoughts, your actions and behaviors. And if you keep doing the things that dissatisfy you, that do not fulfill you, break it down. Look at the sequence of events. There's always a sequence of events. Sometimes it's a thought, then spirals down into an action that turns into self-hate or sabotage. Then you don't go and do that thing. So can you curb the thought at that point? Or can you work on that reason why you keep feeling that you need to have that thought because it keeps you safe, or it keeps you protected, or you make excuses that you always have to be there for your children and you always have to be there for your parents. You don't. Your job isn't to do that, right? You've got other better things to do in your life. And I don't mean that as a discredit to your children or your parents, but we can very often put them before us as an excuse for really meeting our true self and attaching that value to create a container for that money to land in. Okay, I just wanted to share that because it happened in my channeling this morning and I thought, you know, I haven't done a live for ages, so why not just jump on and share it? I used to love doing lives and I think I should come back and do more because these are, as they come in, I felt like they need to be heard, particularly in a time where we're hearing the economy is collapsing, there's no money, there's a cost of living crisis, and I just feel, I know this. A lot of things I've got without even parting with cash. I've manifested amazing things without parting with a penny because my value system attracts that. My connection to myself attracts that, okay? You know, there's that whole thing doing the social media rounds. I don't chase, I attract. To have the things that you want, you must be in the vibration of that, all right? So think about how much of you is in that. And what story are you telling yourself about your value that's attached to not having that? And when you start journaling on those or self-reflecting on those, you will definitely find the answer. If you're finding this all a bit like, where the F do I start? There's a link up there. You can join me for a clarity call and I'll walk you through it. I do this with people one-to-one. It works super quickly, super quickly. And the thing is, it's not really about what I do for you. It's the tools I give you that you can use for yourself that allows you to continue moving forward. And these tools are all about how you get a deeper connection to yourself, how you listen to that inner guidance and wisdom that is in you from your ancestors. Think about how many generations of ancestors' wisdom you've got sitting in your DNA that you can just activate and learn to use. I do that a lot. I remember when I wanted to learn to speak to camera, and I still haven't mastered it. I just do what I do, and you know, I get where I get, and that I'm really happy with that. So I fell into my ancestors, and I thought there must be someone who was a speaker, who led people, who was successful, who knew how to speak to camera, who was articulate with their words. And I felt it inside me. So I commanded the activation, and then I started doing slow actions, daily small actions to match that. And before I knew it, within a week, I was on camera doing simple videos, and there it was. And it's still developing. It never stops, right? It's still becoming, and I'm allowing that. So I'm not beating myself up and saying it's not perfect. I don't care. It's me, you know? And I'm actually really grateful for how I am. And that is a really important thing, because what you are right now is already enough to get started with. And I'm just going to tap on one thing to close. You don't need any more skills, right? If you are continually on the cycle of getting the next course, learning the next skill, you are not valuing the knowledge you have already within you. Most of us don't need another skill. We might need practical advice of how do I join A to B to C. We don't need any more skills. We've got it already. We 100% have got it. And the amount of people I have got connected to their inner wisdom who lived by that, who didn't have to attain, you know, go on a massive course and, you know, spend lots of money to learn another skill that is actually outside of them, right? I just don't do that. I'm just like, what have you got already, and how can we amplify that to bring the abundance, to increase your value worth system, to show you what you really are? Because I guarantee those of you with low self-esteem and low self-worth will beat yourself up about what you think you are. And there's people less qualified than you that have less experience than you that are making a shit ton more money than you. It's happening all around us, right? And you'll think they're lucky. Do you know what? They just believe in themselves. That's it. They're just like, sorry, I'm going to go jump. I don't care. Works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. And that's pretty much my mentality. I have failed hundreds of times and I keep failing, and it doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm just like, okay, learn a lesson. Let's move on. Okay. So I give that to you today to have a look at your internal value system and how that reflects upon your external value system, i.e. in the form of money, because that's what everyone seems to want. And to reflect upon what inner story about your value system holds you back from attaining that. I'll leave that with you, my darlings. If you're watching on replay, if you found this useful, comment below and let me know. And as Lynn did, please tag people who need to hear this. Please, that would be amazing. Love you all. See you later. Bye.